It's Hump Wednesday, and everybody's staying positive. Just would like to welcome everybody today, and staying healthy and staying safe. So, thank you to all of you that are joining us today. I hope I have my cafecito ready to go. So, my name is Delia Gutierrez McLaughlin, and I'm president and founder of Aztec Innovation. This is a minority-owned, women-owned business which focuses on IT transformation and IT supplier diversity. My interest is, and my passion has always been diversity and inclusion and IT, and so therefore I focus on getting IT minority businesses to the table with great organizations such as McDonald's. So, in addition to that, I am vice chair of the board of directors for ASE, and it is my distinct pleasure to be and act as your moderator today. So, welcome. Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. During Hispanic Heritage Month, we focus on highlighting leaders who make a difference and are sharing their insights over a conversation. So, let's get our questions ready. This week, our focus is on recognizing our ASE corporate partners and colleagues. And so what I want to do now is take a moment to introduce our distinguished guest today from McDonald's, Melissa Lopez. So Melissa Lopez is a multicultural marketing lead for the Hispanic and Asian segments within McDonald's. She's a staunch advocate for the multicultural consumers and across the McDonald's system. So she's really responsible for the strategic planning as well as driving enhanced consumer engagement via activation opportunities within the arenas of sports, music, and my favorite, education. So her focus is on connecting emotionally with the consumer, and it is a vital and essential component of her success at McDonald's as they seek to transform their iconic brand within culture. So, Melissa, welcome.
Thank you so much, Delia. I appreciate the invitation.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Did I introduce you correctly? Did we get everything?
Yes, you did.
Absolutely. So why don't we go ahead and get started? So, obviously this is our cafecito. We have about 20 minutes to talk about and gain some insights from you. So I want to talk less and hear more from you. So let's go ahead and get started. So first of all, a little icebreaker. So how do you like your cafecito or coffee prepared?
I like my favorite flavors are vanilla, and I like it with cream and sugar.
Ooh, yummy, yummy. Very good. I'm drinking my cinnamon dolce latte with almond milk. That's my little quest at being a little bit healthy. So why don't we dive right into it then? Can you tell us about your background and why you chose this field?
Sure. So when I went into college, I actually wanted to be an attorney. That's what I wanted to do. Went in double majored as political science and communications as well. Just because I knew that I love just talking, doing research on people. I'm a very people oriented person. But then I also loved legal, so that's why I chose to do too. And I find it interesting because I feel like a lot of Hispanics either do a dual major or dual minor. I think once again, it's just to show the potential that we have, the fact that we can do it. And then after I graduated, I went into a legal program. I finished that, and then McDonald's found me and asked me to come and work with them as a consultant on a legal project that they had. So I did that for a year. After my program was over, I found out that marketing existed. I kind of already knew some of what the field consisted of when I was in college. But then I started shadowing some marketing folks within the corporation and just really loved it. I really did. I love the fact of studying consumers, learning about the different ethnicities. There was just a lot more to it that I didn't had realized in the past. So then I went ahead and applied for the marketing position here in Chicago and got it. And then that's kind of how my career started. I did local marketing for 3 years. And then after that, applied for a U.S. position and then got it as well, which I'm very thankful before that. And since then, I've been doing multicultural marketing. Started first with the Hispanic consumer, and now it has extended over to Asian as well. I must say there's a lot of similarities. However, there's also a lot of differences, and you always have to research and know your status pertaining to each consumer because obviously they're all into different trends. But the one that is really common is the youth, and focusing on the age group between 18 and 35, since they are, as of right now, making a ton of noise and really trying to make themselves noticeable due to everything happening.
Agreed. So you did kind of touch on a little bit, but I'm going to ask you to say more and tell us about your background. And I heard a bit about why you chose this field. Can you extrapolate just a little bit more? What about your background helped you to go into this area?
Sure. So I grew up in Little Village here in Chicago, La Villita.
Okay.
And my parents well, my dad's actually from Pilsen.
Yay, I'm from Pilsen. Sorry.
I love Pilsen. I love them both. So I think both of the communities, of course, as you look at Pilsen, it's now expanding and becoming a little bit more diverse. But for me, growing up there was just, I love it. It's part of my roots, but I also think that it had the negative side of like you're only being boxed in with Hispanics versus going out in the open. And I think that's what college provided for me was like, hey, life is not all about Hispanics. It's about all these other ethnicities that you need to realize and take into consideration. So I think when I went into college, I was like culturally shocked. So after that, I just really became engaged in learning about other people, which prompted me to become what I am today and to kind of go into the multicultural field,
Right.
which is the study of consumers and different backgrounds that really ties, that you always have to have a reason of why you're doing what you're doing and how you are supporting their needs within their community.
Oh, thank you so much. And you represent us well, and we are proud that you are at McDonald's, not only representing both the Hispanic and the Asian segment, but the communities as well. So that really takes me into our next section, which is, first of all, Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. So what does Hispanic Heritage Month mean to you personally? And if you could share with that and how that aligns with your role within a McDonald's.
It is part of celebrating who I am, celebrating my roots, celebrating those around us. I think as Hispanics, we love to work super, super hard. I see it not only within myself, but my parents, you guys, as well as friends, relatives, and so on. And I think this is the moment where it allows us to take a step back and realize, recognize all of the efforts we have done to get to where we are today. We don't really tend to do that. We're just hardworking individuals that tend to just, vivir al día, live day by day. However, just celebrating our roots, who we are, and what we have done, for me means a lot specifically. And I feel like that's what I've been trying to get people to do, including my agencies and my team. And then how do I tie that back to what I do? We within McDonald's are actually celebrating Hispanic heritage. They not only because we extended our Aztec scholarship, and I know I will be going into that in details in a couple of minutes, but also because when we did research on the consumer, we noticed that music was a huge part of their roots and really mitigating what they're going through during this pandemic. So a lot of individuals, and especially the young folks, really look at music as a a support to overcome their struggle. And even when they don't want to go to, run outside or do a smaller workout, they turn on their music and, that gets them through whatever they have to deal with. So we actually joined efforts with Farruko and a couple of other artists and did a couple of virtual concerts to celebrate Hispanic heritage. And once again, with that, consumer messaging of celebrating who we are and just taking the time to recognize what we have done so far. So it's really cool that, I have my perspective and I have my roots, but also I can transition some of that support and love over to what I do, obviously leading through the strategy and the research. But I think they both tie very well to who I am today.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we are glad you're here and really able to speak on your background and how it has affected your path. And by the way, I was a double major too. I was political science. You said political science.
Yes.
And accounting. So I can do both, right? We are multifaceted. We are very much able to multitask and have dual focuses, of which we give 100% for. So with that, I want to talk about how proud we are of ASE to be, we're part of our partnership with the HACER Scholarship. And even more so that McDonald's has so strongly invested in this scholarship, so much so that they are doubling down this year to support those students that are impacted by the COVID-19 coronavirus. So really, tell us more about that. I mean, I really want to hear what the scholarship's about, who the focus is. As we've talked a little bit about, it is Hispanic students, but how McDonald's is working to help and invest in the community.
Yeah. So McDonald's has been supporting education for many, many years now, since 1985, and we have helped a total of 17,000 plus students to achieve their higher education, which is a huge number that I feel like we don't talk a lot about. However, this year when the pandemic started, like I mentioned, I feel like any other company, we did our research and we found out that at first it was 34, and then it increased to 50% of Hispanics within their households are not coming home with the same check that they were before, because it has been either reduced, which means they were let go and are now doing another job that does not allow them to come in with the same amount of funding, or two, they have lost their jobs. So when we took a look at all those insights, we learned that for education, it meant that a lot of the students wouldn't have the opportunity to go to college, or they and their parents would have the fear of la lucha. How am I going to do it? How am I really going to pay for my son's or daughter's school? So the alternative was, and we actually did see that within our students that we have supported in the past, because a lot of them reach out to us, or they reach out to ASE, or they reach out to other of our education supporters, and actually have told us that because of the pandemic, they either had to drop out of school to help their parents, or they are looking for additional scholarship information. So I feel like we saw it everywhere, telling us boldly that education was huge and we needed to come to the table with more than what we have in the past. So that's when we decided to double our efforts and now give away 1 million in scholarships, thus helping 130 students, which is great. But that's kind of the background of why, and it is very powerful when you see a lot of the students just be super, super happy that they can now apply for this scholarship and have something to look forward to, because if it wasn't for this scholarship, then who knows where they would have gained additional funding from.
Right, right. Well, this is wonderful to hear, and we are very proud and grateful of the collaboration and partnership with McDonald's to really elevate our Hispanic community with providing these scholarships. So I'm, this is, education is equals opportunity, right?
Yes.
And so being able to have an organization such as McDonald's recognize the significance of education, the investment in the community, and the investment in our students, who are obviously quite willing to do all the work necessary to elevate themselves and to educate themselves, because again, education equals opportunity, and McDonald's recognizes that. So from all of us here and the constituency that we represent, which is the Hispanic community, a very heartfelt thank you, because I think this is extremely important for our young. So I want to lead in from that, and thank you for telling us more about the scholarship. Is it that we can go to the website to get more information about the HACER Scholarship for the particulars, such as how to apply, what are the credentials, etc. But I want to pull out a call to action for all of those students out there that are striving to get their education and handling their business, if you will, to go ahead and apply. So do they go out to the McDonald's website for that?
They do. You can just Google it and say McDonald's HACER Scholarship, and it will pop up, and then the website has all of the information.
Wonderful, wonderful. So as a result of your leadership and your staunch advocacy working to support our Latinx community, what encouraging stories or inspiration do you see during this time?
So I have many.
Well, one, just one.
I think since we're in the topic of education, I myself, I'm in the judging committee where we actually take a look at, we read a ton of essays, and I have a huge judging committee that is made up of owner-operator, franchisees, as well as internal staff, agencies, and our partners. ASE is one of them, which they provide tremendous support. So I'm very thankful for that. But we also have other education experts such as counselors and teachers that really help us vet all of these essays. And a lot of the essays are stories to the tremendous achievement that the student has done and achieved. But a lot of them are also, they have a really sad component. So I think one that stuck to me was one story of one of the students where he was just having a really hard time, had just migrated from Mexico, and he lost his dad and was really also the breadwinner that was helping his mom with his little brothers. So he won the scholarship last year, and now really communicates with the brand and gives us updates pertaining to his life. So I think that's one story that I have very dear to my heart because it just kind of showcases the brand's commitment to what we have done for education and the students that we have helped. And I think there are a couple of stories that are sprinkled throughout our campaign. There is actually the story of Bridget that many consumers can see through the ACER commercials that actually started on October 5th, last Monday. And then there's different stories that are on social. So actually telling that Hispanic story of a student is big and it's huge because it's really what made up our campaign this year. Because we tried to be as close as we could as to that emotional string that us Hispanics have. So I would encourage everyone to go ahead and check out the commercial. And I know they're seeing it because we know everybody watches Univision. But then that's kind of where that kind of highlight came from.
Right, absolutely. So last question of the day. So from your perspective, what advice do you have for Latino professionals seeking to get involved and to take action? How can they get involved? How can they make a difference?
I would say Latinos are needed within every company. And by take action, do you mean how they can take action upon their career or helping their community?
Yeah, really, it's both. Because one of the things we talk about is making a difference, right? So how can they make a difference? And why don't we keep it to Latino professionals within their career sector, within their organization? If they're seeking to get involved, how can they make a difference? How can they take action?
I think the way they can get involved and take, well, first of all, let me just say, because I think sometimes we don't give ourselves credit as to how much Latinos are needed within corporations, within different sectors. So I will say that right now we know that the Hispanic segment is huge. And I feel like it's already a plus if you're Hispanic and you are doing marketing or you're doing something that really helps the Hispanic consumer. So you just being Hispanic, I think gives you an advantage of understanding the consumer, understanding whether content or creative should be in bilingual or in Spanish or in English, because that's part of who you grew up. It is part of your identity. So I feel like that's a plus. Never put yourself down because you are Hispanic. And then in addition to that, I feel like there's many companies nowadays that are becoming more multicultural through hiring people that look exactly like the people they are advertising to. So I feel like that's essential. And then to your second question, how can employees or just any professional really help their community? I would say one, through just really maintaining yourself current as to what are the big issues that are occurring with those segments that you care about, whether it be Hispanic, Asian, African American, and so on, and then just trying to address them within what you're doing at work, or at least letting people know of those concerns that the community is having, because I feel like a lot of what you see in the media could be biased. However, you need to yourself become educated on the topic in order to educate others. I feel like that is essential, and you just creating that awareness and becoming cautious on how to help solve either the internal issues or the exterior, or even like correct the comments that people make is really important.
Right. Absolutely. I would totally agree with you. Well, I want to really thank you for your time. The questions we did have, we happen to have been extraordinarily blessed, and that you answered a great deal of them. So the few questions we did get in, you did a great job of already addressing. So I don't want to repeat them. But I do want to thank you for your time and your insight. It is leaders like yourself that make a pivotal difference in our progress and what ASE's mission is, what McDonald's mission is, and demonstrating our true collaboration and partnership. So again, I want to thank you, one, for your time, two, for your investment, and your leadership as we work to progress forward and elevate those that stand next to us, are in front of us, and are coming behind us, right?
Correct.
Absolutely. So thank you again, Melissa, and thank you everyone for watching. I just want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your cafecito. Hope you enjoyed your coffee and a bit of a deep conversation here and insight. Again, please be reminded, you can go to the McDonald's website in regards to the HACER Scholarship for all of the criteria and ability to put in for an application for this scholarship. So it really is striving to help our Hispanic students who are directly affected and disproportionately affected by the coronavirus. As a reminder, our upcoming next ASE event is October 17th. It's our Mujeres de ASE event. Our focus will be our collective power, diversifying the big table. And we all belong at the table, so don't wait for an invite. Put yourself out there. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have a great week. Stay safe, stay healthy, and salud.
Thank you, everyone.